This is Perp, back with another video. I just got done watching From Season 2, Episode 7. I gotta get this off my chest, man. I cannot stand Amazon Prime, bro. They really fumbled the bag tonight by not releasing this episode on time. And for that, they gotta hold this L. I'm over it. I'm not fucking with that shit no more. So I don't know if anybody else had that issue. I see on social media some people had that issue with the app, so I had to get the MGM app separately. Anyways, no visuals, no screenshots, nothing like that. I'm just going to talk about this episode because I'm just over it. But this episode was crazy, and I'm glad this episode was crazy, because I would have that would have just made this review worse. But all that bullshit aside, we finally see exactly what's inside these monsters. As you know, this picks up where the last episode left off, with Boyd and everybody just standing around this creature. And no, it didn't spontaneously combust, so you can kind of get the whole vampire thing completely out of that, even though they share similar, traits. Kenny's kind of freaking out, though. He's like, no, we shouldn't bring this shit inside, because his whole thing is, he's more afraid of whatever those worms are that Boyd had is worse than these whole entire creatures and stuff. He thinks that we should not bring this thing inside the house at all, or the clinic. But Christy's like, no, this is our perfect opportunity to pretty much do a whole autopsy, figure out exactly what we're working with, and maybe we can figure out a way to beat them. And this was the nastiest fucking autopsy I've ever seen, bro. That shit, like, I gagged a few times, bro. I was about to puke. And I'm glad I didn't eat nothing, because that was... But what was interesting, when Christy was doing the autopsy, she notices that, like, this whole thing is human, or it was human at one point, but it's like its organs and all that is like shriveled up, and she really starts to kind of freak out. But her and Kenny have this moment before the whole autopsy where Kenny just is very, not overprotective, but he really cares about Christy. Also says that, I love you. And you can obviously see that Christy doesn't know how to really take this, because her fiance's there, her girlfriend's there. And she's also kind of going through certain things. She's starting to kind of see visions, kind of going through withdrawals, her junkie ass. I'm not sure where that's going to lead. I still think that it's possible that Marielle might die, and that's what they kind of are going to build up to. I just don't see her being on the show that long. I could be wrong, or maybe they might save that for a third season. Who knows? But yeah, and I like that Boyd, like, really shows off his leadership skills, like, where he just says, like, look, he just puts the confidence in everybody. And he even tells Kenny by the end of this episode, like, yo, if you ever want this badge back, don't worry. So what Christy ends up doing is taking some of the, I think some bio, because it's like this yellow stuff that ends up, coming out, because she starts to stab it, like, out of frustration, and then this, like, yellow pussy ooze comes out. It's disgusting. So they're going to try to use that to maybe kill these things, because also Kenny brought up, like, what happened to the worms? Is that just a one-time thing? And it's very interesting stuff going on, and I like that these character moments that we have with all these different characters, and people kind of trying to connect with other people. Like, we had Tabitha and Jade, because they both started to kind of see things, and they kind of started to share their stories. But also Jade now knows about the tunnels, and I'm wondering if they're going to try to go explore those tunnels, because Tabitha has seen those symbols, and they can kind of relate with that. Where Tabitha and Jim are kind of at a rift now again, where they were a little bit closer. It's just because Tabitha doesn't really... She leans more of what Donna was saying in a couple episodes ago, where it's like, you don't know who you were talking to on that radio. It could have been something, one of these monsters, or something even worse. Where Jim is kind of convinced that this is definitely an experiment, which he kind of aligns himself with Randall. And Randall at first was kind of like, I don't want really nothing to do with you. But he has this drone that Jim wants to use to kind of, make a little mini tower once again. So maybe the drone will work. But Randall says something also interesting. Says, like, if this is an experiment, who's to say these people aren't in on it? Tilly could definitely be an inside agent. Maybe Elgin. You know what I'm saying? He could definitely be in on it. Or maybe Randall himself, just the way he's kind of moving and how he's kind of acting. Very interesting. And then we got Fatima and the whole Ellis thing, and she's just kind of really worried about telling Ellis. But what we get revealed in this episode when she has this conversation with Donna, and shouts to Donna as well, she's been having crazy back-to-back episodes so far with just the dialogue, and she just feels like this should have never happened, because before I got here, I was told I should never have children, and she feels like it's this place messing with her. And Donna's like, no, we've seen a lot of weird shit. She even opens up to the stuff that Boyd's been saying, and she's like, it doesn't matter. Like, this could be a miracle. I forget the exact line. She was kind of equating miracles and nightmares and stuff like that. But anyways, I really like Donna in this episode. She really looks at Ellis as a son. You know what I'm saying? Treats Ellis, like a son. So I'm just hoping that Donna doesn't end up getting killed, because this seems like one of those situations where you see a character get a lot of screen time, they're giving a lot of motivational speeches, and then they end up fucking dying. I was just like, I hope that's not the case with Donna. But I like all these moments. Even Ethan and Victor. Victor is literally starting to open up a little bit, but he's the way he is, and because he wants to protect Ethan. That he knows a lot of things, and he even mentions, like, anytime I get close to somebody, like, bad things start to happen. And he also mentions the trees and how things are changing, and whenever things change in here, bad things start to happen. Which makes me think that winter is possibly coming, or they're going to... Because I think it's a mixture of things that are happening in this place. Like, I don't think Jim is necessarily wrong, but I also kind of see someone like Donna saying, like, maybe this is just... Or no, it wasn't Donna. I think it was... I forget exactly who it was. Oh, no, it was Jade that said, maybe this is just a fucked up place. Just messed up things happen, and that's just how it is. And I'm liking that, but I definitely think it's a mixture of things. And who knows? And another kind of character moment we get is between Elgin and Julie, where Elgin's just kind of telling Julie, like, exactly what happened, but is telling Julie, like, yo, just keep this a secret, don't tell nobody. You know what I'm saying? Because Boyd doesn't want the whole town and other people to panic. That brings back to, like, Dale. Dale can also be like an inside person as well. Kind of keep that in mind. So yeah, this was a really dope episode. We didn't get too many answers as far as, the creatures, but we understand their anatomy and stuff, that they are humans. So that might go with the whole theory that maybe people end up kind of turning into these monsters, or maybe they're already these monsters. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. It's so bizarre, and it's terrifying, and I like that this episode ends with Elgin, taking some advice from Julie. Says, like, Julie likes to take baths to kind of calm herself down, and Elgin's in the bath, and then all of a sudden he's he's drowning. And then you see it pan up to what it looks like a monster version of Julie. Because he mentions, like, I can't remember something like the visions that he's had. It just feels like memories, but then they just kind of quickly fade away. Similar to, like, similar to Victor, because he draws all his visions out and whatnot. So let me know how you guys feel about this episode. There's a lot to kind of dissect, but that's just my quick thoughts on the episode. Till next time, I'll see y'all later.